Greetings and welcome back to another episode of Modeling on the Fly with 3ds Max. Let's jump right back into our AT-AT Walker where we left off working on the guns. Now, what I'm going to do is grab this piece that we just kind of finished up in the last video, and I'm going to see what happens if I just drop a shell modifier on it. And that adds a nice amount of thickness. And if I frame up on it, let's see if I just add a nice amount of inner thickness. So I'll just really kind of crank that up. And that doesn't look too bad, actually. I think that's going to work out for us. We may need to planarize what's going on up here. So let's go ahead and convert this over to an editable poly. Let's grab, well, let's see here. If I go by angle, and let's just go with something like 10 degrees. Get you, and then let's planarize these in Y, so those are nice and flat now. That's good. Okay, now I need to make the piece that fits down on top of all this, and we're going to build that out of this leftover piece from our original cylinder. So let's do that. Let's grab this guy. I'm going to slide him back. Like so, and give them some of this action. Now, I want these to fit over each other pretty well. And if we take a look at our picture, this also needs to taper. It's a little bit too long. There's all kinds of little things that we need to fix here and there. And something else I really want to do here, and there's a lot of ways that I could do it. I think the way I'm going to pull it off. Let's see, this is an editable poly. Let me see if I grab vertices, and let me get the slice plane out. Now let's rotate the slice plane forward. So, let's go further than that. Let's go to right about here, and then we'll slide this back to about there. Run a slice, press F4 so we can see the resultant edge, and that's all good. Now, let's get out of the slice plane, switch over to edges, grab this, let's ring, convert to faces, and remove. Now we can grab edges here. Let's see if I loop these. And I should be able to just extrude these back, like so. And that kind of goes up into that track and up out of view. Now, if we take a look, I mean, that's probably going to work just fine. Was it this guy? Yeah, you know, okay, I think I've got the right idea, but I just don't think I went far enough with it. So let me go back to the slice plane. We're going to do several undos. And let's do another slice plane. So I like what was going on there. It's just not, it's not as far as I need it to be. We're going to make it almost perpendicular to this edge. Now let's slide it back, run our slice, grab edges, get any one of these edges and ring it, then convert it to faces and nuke it. So now I have a much harsher edge, which is, I think that's what I was going for, really. Okay, now back to edges, get this edge, loop it around, shift drag out, like so. So it's kind of following that detail. It is just kind of plugging up there into the top, which is okay by me. In fact, we could take that even further and just really run it all the way up there and out of sight, under the assumption that nobody's really going to see it that well anyway. Now, let's see a couple of things. Let's grab edges here, and then I'm going to loop that around. Let's chamfer this at least once by a little amount to help really see how that's changing. Let's click OK, grab this edge, and we're going to ring it. Now let's do a connection. Say 1 and then 2. We might only see 2 in our version, which that's not going to break my heart. Yeah, let's just do it that way. Just keep it easy on ourselves. Alright, let me do edge constraints to help me move these without any key problems. Slide that down. Let's see, let's change our selection around. Let's just get U and loop. And we'll slide this down. And get you and loop and slide this down. And you and loop and slide this down. And let's just say that's enough. We don't really need the third one. And let's grab faces all the way around. Probably it would be easier if I did that the other way. So get you, and then ring, and let me just get select tool. I probably need to pull in one more because of the way that's probably going to select those. So now convert that over to faces. Yep, that's exactly what I wanted. Now let's do a bevel, and this will be a tiny little bevel, little inset. So height in and in. In fact, we're going to go up a little more from that. Click OK. Then an honest-to-goodness extrusion, like so. And there we go. Cool. Now let's switch over to vertices, and I want these verts here, and I'm going to slide them back all the way to right here. Because the way I'm going to do this is we're going to switch this over to edges, give me this, give me a loop, drag these forward. Oh, I got to turn off edge constraints for that to work. Bump, and pull these forward. Now let's switch over to scale, and let's see, view, and that probably won't do what I want it to. Let me try something. If we go to pick, and I pick the object itself, and then we scale like that, I should, in theory, be able to scale down and then scale in at the sides and get some general tapering based on the center of the object, which should be exactly what we really need to make this happen. And then just because I can, I'm going to push this forward a little bit. I feel like it needs to be. Okay, now let's go out to the element level, get the whole element, and let's take a look at these guys. Let's pull it down to 25 and auto smooth and just see what that looks like. Pretty clean. I might grab edges here, loop, and do at least one level of chamfer, just to, maybe a wider one too, just to kind of help that not feel so sharp, even though it kind of is. That should just help us. There you go. Yeah, you can really kind of catch the change in direction a lot more easily that way. Okay, now let's get this guy again. Press F4, and let's drop shell on it. And that's a little bit too much, so say to about there. That's fine. Let's convert that back over to an editable poly. I'm going to hit 4, and we'll go by angle of, well, even 45 will probably do it. Now, let's see here. If we planarize that in Z, that turns out just right, which is good. And then the only other thing I want to do, and this, what I'm about to do should work just fine. So cross your fingers for me. If you have fingers to cross, let's go ahead and ring this, convert this over to faces. Yeah, you think this will work? And then let's do a quick bevel. Just a tiny little bit of bevel by local normal. So yeah, that looks like it worked fine. Okay, so we're starting to get to a place that I would want to see us get to in terms of how this cannon looks. Now, if we take a look at all of our pictures, and this one in particular, we've got a lot of funny little greebles in here. I'm sorry, I'm making a command decision. I'm not going to greeble all that to that degree. You can if you like. I mean, really, it's just drop in some shapes, but I'm actually going to simplify it down a bit. So if you've got the internal sort of, oh, well, get it out of your system, and I'm going to move on. So let's see here. I think we could actually begin work on the barrel of this cannon. So let's do a couple of things. Let's get out of editable poly mode for this guy. Let's press F4, and then let's drop on our material. So now he looks like he's more like part of the mix. And I'm going to offset him a little bit too. We're going to lift him up just a little bit. Okay. Now, moving over to the actual barrel, the main part of the cannon. This guy's still just a cylinder, and he's got 36 sides, so he's nice and smooth. Probably doesn't need that many sides, to be honest, but I think I'm going to leave him for the time being. Now, I'm going to slide this out to about here. Let's go ahead and convert it. And let's do some things. Let's press F4 so we can see all those edges. Now, I am going to do some styling to it, but nowhere near what is kind of going on there. Let's see. Really, I think the big thing I'm going to handle there is kind of a taper effect. So let's do that this way. Let's make a connection. So let's grab this, let's ring it, let's connect at least once, click OK, slide that back. Now, let's grab, actually let's do an edge here. Let's ring it, convert that over to faces, and then on the very bottom I'm going to deselect a few faces. So I can do something that's going to be a little bit different. Now we're going to extrude these. By local normal, and we don't need to go that far, so maybe just to about there. And we'll click OK. Now switch to edges, give me this outer edge here, and let's loop that. And then we'll pull that back. Now I need a box. Or at least I think I need a box. I could probably do without one. We could probably just fake it from what's already here. So let's go with these 4 faces. And let's extrude these. This time by group. And I don't know what that was all about, so let's not do that. So that should be good. Let's take these bottom faces and we'll make them planar. Now, actually, you know what? Let's grab these. I'm going to pull them up like so. Then we're going to extrude again to about, well, I keep wanting to actually move my extrusion manually, like some other application. So let's go to about here, click OK. Now let's grab these guys, and we're going to extrude these forward. Say to about there, click OK. Let's grab faces by angle. Let's do an inset, not much of one, just a little bit, so there's some differentiation. And let's extrude that in. And then, if you just want to play with this, and again, you can make whatever kind of greebling makes you happy. But I'm just going to do a couple of quick things, and then we'll call it even. And let's see if I de-pinch these a little bit, click OK, let's hit, let's make sure we're not going by angle anymore. Okay, and we can, let's just do a bevel there. So we'll increase the height and apply, and then we'll do a little bit less height with a little inset. Now I'm going to switch over to vertices. I'm going to take all these verts, pull them back here because I changed my mind a little, but we'll slant that forward. And it looks like I didn't need to grab as many of those as I did, so we'll do this, slant that forward, and there we go. Okay. So let's fix the smoothing group issue because it's there, it's present. Say about our magical 25 degrees. And you know what? I think that looks just fine. It's different than, you know, the canonical one, but you know what? I'm okay with that. So grab you, assign. Okay, now still we need to at least get the overall shape of the barrel in place and a little more finalized. And to do that, we need to get polygons first off. Let's get this poly. We're going to pull that back to about here. And there's so many different styles of this, if you take a look. If we flip through some of our pictures, we've got just kind of a flare. We've got a flare with these little... Now, this seems to be the most popular version I've seen, with a little trapezoidal inset. Though I saw one when I was flipping through at some random point, and it had a little circular inset. Now, this is right from the movie, and that's perfect. We can just use that and be happy. So let's see here. Let's take this, and we don't want to scale that up. Let's just go by view, and we'll go by selection center, and we'll scale this down to get a little bit of taper. Maybe not that much taper, so just a little bit of taper. Now let's see here. Let's do a little bit of an extrusion, outward extrusion, just to separate. Let's also press F4. I want to see these edges because I'm going to be playing with a few things. Now, let's make that go away. Let's switch up to a bevel, add a lot more height, and flare out. Actually, you know what? Let's pull that back to about here. Now let's apply, and now let's go really far forward. So it's like a whole different piece that's kind of clicked onto the end there. Okay, and I'm down with that. So let's click OK. Let's do an inset by a pretty fair amount. Click OK. Let's do an extrusion that goes inward. Say to about there. We could go back a lot further, but I'm not going to. Now, some things. Let's do edges. This guy, let's ring. Connect a couple of times. Say it about there. Now, let's do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That'll probably work. Find the halfway point. 1. Oh, make sure we have ignore back facing on. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Looks like about the same thing on either side. Awesome. And we'll bevel. Right click, right click. I'm going to go in just a little. Indent just a little. Apply. Now we're going to go further. Zero that out. And click OK. Now here, on the front part, let's get you. Now that's up 2. So now from here we go down 2. Take another quick peek. Maybe just fewer than that. Let's say to you. So that's up 3. So there's the center line. Count up 3 spaces. Count down 3 spaces. 1, 2, 3. And get that. Center line 1, 2, 3. And get the next one. And then center line 1, 2, 3. And get the next one. Boom. Now I just need to fill in all the empty space in between. Notice I hit Q so that I can click quickly without accidentally moving something, which I am so prone to doing. It's almost embarrassing. Now I'm going to inset both of these by a little bit, like so. Click OK, and now let's do an extrusion. OK, and then let's do a little bevel at the end. And click OK. Now, this guy, we can pull this back. So let's see here. Boom. Actually, let's not do that. Let's pull it back with just the regular move tool. And when it starts to protrude there, we're just going to scale it down so that doesn't happen anymore. And then we'll do an extrusion. That just goes back into the shape. And that should be good. So I got a nice deep barrel. And we need to adjust some smoothing groups. There's a few things I want to do, actually. Remember this little tiny extrusion we made up here? Well, I actually had a purpose for that. So let's grab edges. I want this edge. I want to ring that. I want to convert that to polys. Let's make an inward extrusion by local normal. Not that inward. In fact, we'll zero that out and then just go in like so. Click OK. And then switch over to edges. Get U, loop, chamfer, but not quite so much. Click OK. Let's get this guy, and then loop, chamfer. Oh, didn't want to loop all the way, did it? Well, that's okay. I should be able to just add these in. So boom, and then loop some more. Boom. Loop some more, and that'll probably leave these guys. So I'll get this guy, and then loop some more. And click OK. Now we have that done, so if it ends up looking like it's too short, we can always just extend it, but I think right now it's looking okay. The big thing we need to do is get this over onto the other side of the head along with everything else. I also need to make some sort of a connection where these two start to, the cannon seems to mount in. What I think I'm going to do, though, is this. I'm making this up entirely. I'm going to grab this great big long track piece. And let's see, we've got some edges that will already help us do this. So let's get faces. Oh, come on, you. I'm really talking to myself when I say stuff like that, too. Let's see, get all of this. And then let's go get it on the other side as well. All right. And pull. Come on, you. I guess if I zoom in, it'll be easier to get exactly what I'm looking for. And it's just a lot of manual selection because I have a very particular face set in mind. And yes, I know, if I'm selecting either side, I know I don't have to select the face in the middle. It just makes me happier. See, we can leave little gaps. It'll work just fine. All right, now, let's take all this, and I don't know why that just happened. Oh, you know what? There we go. I hit 4 instead of W. That's all that was. All right, so now let's pull all this down. And then, you know what, just because I think we can get away with it, let's grab this stuff. Oh, missed somebody. All right, cool. Now let's pull all this up to here. It's kind of offset. All right, there's a couple of things that I still kind of need to do here that we've seen in different images of the model. One is I need to grab a sphere, hemisphere to 0.5, and we need to put this, say, right about here. That's pretty centered up for what I had in mind. However, we do need to scale it down a little bit, and then we'll kind of stuff it back here behind this so it's like some sort of thing that this whole contraption slides around on. And then, let's see, I need to fix this because it's kind of hanging out. We'll just scale it, get it done a little more quickly that way. And then because it's right here, and because it's already kind of fitting in the track, and it will keep me from having to draw another one, I'm going to shift drag this guy over here, and that's fine. Box 7,000,005 will do for now. And let's scale this in, and scale it down and down. And all we're doing, because I figure a lot of this is going to be in shadow anyway, we're just kind of filling that space so it doesn't look like there's any kind of floating. Now, I noticed something else earlier, kind of in between videos. We need to take a look at the smoothing groups on these two pieces. So let's jump over here, grab the editable poly element, get this guy. And it doesn't, we could probably just get away with an auto smooth to get the look we're chasing. And boom, yeah, looks a lot better. So there we go, and there we've got a cannon sticking out. We need to get smoothing groups done here, so let's switch back over to elements, get you, and 45 will probably be a little bit much, I'm thinking, but auto smooth is already set to 25, so that should be great. Yeah, looks fine. Now we have a lot that we need to get mirrored over to the opposite side, and we need to get our material on this little sphere guy here. So let's get that applied. Okay, so I'm going to get my select tool out, and I'm just going to start grabbing some pieces. And we need this big track piece. We need this. Actually, I wonder. I probably can't get away with what I'm about to try, but we're going to try it anyway, right? Let's make a marquee selection like so. Come up here, and then I'll Control Alt and deselect everything up here. And that's just about got it. So if we hit F4, okay, we need to get rid of all this. None of that needs to be included. I think that got it. I think that got everything I have over here. Except for maybe that guy. I need to add some of this stuff though, so let's get this. Let's get this, this. Come on. There you go. Alright, and all of that can be mirrored. Alright, moment of truth. Let's group all that, and we'll call this cannon underside left. Now let's see if we can just drop a mirror modifier on that. And we'll copy it. And we'll grab that mirror center and slide it over to the midpoint. Actually, let's not just do it with a modifier. Let's just take the group. Let's switch over to world. Let's use transform coordinate center. And let's mirror as a copy and click OK. Oh, we're missing somebody. Did you see that? Need to make sure we have this guy selected. Now we should be able to group. And call this cannon underside left. Now we should be able to mirror and get the opposite side. And we call this cannon underside right. And there we are. We have both sides. Now there's some stuff we can nuke here. We don't really... Well, I guess we should open up the group, or we could probably just explode the group entirely. Just get rid of it. And this guy as well. This little fella right in here. It's kind of hard to select, isn't he? There we are. Activate the home grid, and let's just nuke him out. We don't need that grid anymore. Now, let's hit F4. And there we go. We've got the underside of our AT-AT walker, pretty much the entire head for the hardcore stuff knocked out. And we can start moving over to the cannons that are on the side. But that is going to wrap things up for this video. I want to thank you for watching. I want to thank all of our member sponsors who make all this stuff possible. And I will catch you all on the next episode of Modeling on the Fly with 3ds Max.